Welcome to the Texas General Land Office breakout session. My name is Kevin Klaus. I'm with the Texas General Land Office, and I'm going to go through kind of the highlights of our collection. We are one of the oldest state agencies here in Texas. We began in 1836. However, we didn't actually open our doors until 1837. The revolution had to be over. The government had to get organized, but once that happened, then you had the county boards opening up across the republic and issuing certificates for settlers to come in. So we, again, we began in 1836. Part of our mission was we were gathering up all those Spanish titles issued out under the various sovereigns, people like Stephen F. Austin, Balin, DeWitt, Benjamin Milam. We were using kind of a holdover of the Spanish system as far as how we were granting land, how we measured land. We still use the Mexican vara today. A vara is 33 1/3 inches. We have over 35 million documents in our collection, over 45,000 maps and sketches. And all of this deals with the disposition of the public domain. So we have our Mexican collection, our Spanish collection. This has over 6,000 land titles granted out under the Crown of Spain and Republic of Mexico. A lot of those early Mexican titles or Spanish titles, either in deep South Texas, along the Gulf Coast, or up in East Texas. This represents over 26 million acres of land and about 1/6 of the present state of Texas. The oldest document we have in our collection is for the Mission San Jose. That dates back to 1720. So many of our collection, or many of our documents are very old, at least 1820s time period. Excuse me. So what you'll find on our Spanish collection is when your ancestor may have come to Texas, their marital status, where did they come from? It may have clues as to where they came from, what state. It may shed some light on where they may have settled. You may find correspondence between either the early settlers and the officials or the Mexican officials, and you'll find original signatures of those early settlers that came to settle in Texas. Now, when the revolution was going on, we didn't have a lot of money, but we had lots of land. So one way we could support an army in the field is by issuing bounty and donation grants. Bounty grants were given for military service. For every 3 months of service, you could receive 320 acres of land, up to 1,280. So this is the bounty grant for David Crockett. It says, I served faithfully and honorably for a term of 6 months from the 8th day of January to March 1836, the date that the Alamo falls, and being honorably discharged from the Army by death is entitled to 1,280 acres of bounty land. So there's some kind of quirky things about this certificate. Not only did he died on March 6th, the date that the Alamo falls, so he's discharged from the Army by death on March 6th, but it says he served for 6 months. Well, from January until March is not. There was a law passed that stated if you died in service, that your ancestor would be given the full allotment, as if he had served for the full duration. So this was a way for the government to take care of those families that had lost a loved one. So he gets the full 1,280 acres. It was actually his son, Robert Crockett, that came and picked up this certificate. Donation grants were given out for specific battles: Siege of Bear, Fall of the Alamo, Goliad, Battle of San Jacinto. So right now we are in what's called the high holy days of the Texas Revolution. Siege of the Alamo began 187 years ago. The siege began on February 23rd, and Monday will be the anniversary of the fall of the Alamo. Let's say your sister came to Texas, they received a title from Stephen F. Austin. And if you're head of a family, you could get 4,428 acres of land growing up. Single person could get, under Mexico, could get a quarter league, a little over 1,000 acres. So let's say you get a title from Stephen F. Austin. and later you're at San Jacinto. You're eligible for the title, the bounty, the donation grant, and under the Republic, we'll give you an additional labor of land, 177 acres. So land was the big draw for these people to come to Texas. If you were coming just as a settler, you could, and this we encourage settlement because we're trying to build up our population, we're trying to build up a tax base, and many of these land grants were issued. You had to go before a county board of land commissioners. These were set up all across the Republic. So let's say you come to Galveston, you go before the county board there. You will testify as to your marital status and the date you arrived. That will determine how much land you were eligible for. So let me go to the next one here. So other types of grants you'll find in our collection, we have preemption or early homestead grants. Basically what you would have to do is you would show up, you would locate a piece of land, you would homestead that land for a period of 3 years. You would fence it, farm it, make some sort of improvement. Once you had met that requirement, it had patented and it would be yours. Scrip grants. Now, anytime you hear the word scrip associated with a grant, it could be railroad scrip, sales scrip, loan scrip. Think of it as a way of building infrastructure. So railroad companies were issued scrip grants for every mile of track or however many miles it was stipulated in the act. You would receive a certificate to locate 640 acres of land. The railroads would sell these grants and then use the proceeds to help fund their operation, whether it's laying more track, buying the equipment they needed. So again, it's a way of building up our infrastructure. We use scrip grants, selling land, as a way to help build the capital after it had burned. Loan and sale scrip. Loan scrip, remember, after the revolution, we incurred a heavy debt. So we're trying to pay off that debt by issuing or selling scrip grants or loan scrip. You had the colony grants. So you had Peter's Colony to the north up near the Dallas area. You had Castro's Colony, which were primarily Irish immigrants that were toward southern San Antonio area. You had the Adelsverein or the Fisher Miller Colony. These were the Germans that came and settled. Their colony was toward Gillespie County up into Mason and Brady area, but you had other cities that came about like New Braunfels and Comal. You had Austin County had a lot of German immigrants there. You had Confederate scrip grants in our collection. And if your ancestor fought for the Confederacy and enlisted in Texas, they were in some sort of indigent circumstances, had less than $1,000 in assets, they could apply for a Confederate scrip grant. And we have Confederate scrip vouchers where you'll see these testimonies of these either widows or the actual soldier, and they can be very detailed as to what company they were in, what engagements they may have fought in during the Civil War. So there's a lot of detailed information. We have school lands. So much of this is out in West Texas. And it doesn't mean if you find a school grant that your ancestor may have owned, it doesn't mean that there was a school there. What it means is the state is selling that land, excuse me, and the proceeds of that sale were used to help fund the education system here in Texas. We have our special collection. Now, a lot of this is records or documents that supported a land grant claim. So we have our Republic of Texas muster roll. This is an example of it here. You'll see Major General Houston here at the top, and right below his name is the command staff. And much of these people, they've got schools, cities named after them. You'll see Ward, Hockley, Wharton, Collingsworth. So the muster roll, if you've got an ancestor that fought in the Texas Revolution, they may also be in the muster roll in our collection as well. Returns. Remember, I was talking about the county boards that were opening up. So at that county board, you've got a clerk sitting the members, and they're writing out who's coming before the board, what certificate is issued, their date of immigration, and maybe witnesses that were present with them. So for genealogical purposes, this may be interesting. It tells you when they came to Texas, where they may have picked up their certificate. And also these witnesses could have been family or friends that came with them. The Court of Claims file. This is a collection. It's got a lot of information in it. With the burning of the Adjutant General's office back in 1854, it was probably the single greatest loss of military history in Texas. If you had a father or brother or a son that came to Texas and they died in service, they died at the Alamo, let's say, how do you prove that you're related or that you're due a land grant in their name? And so you would go before this court and provide some sort of evidence, and whatever you could bring and prove your case, it could be affidavits from the family, it could be affidavits from fellow soldiers. In some cases, it was actual letters that you'll find from the soldier that they wrote here in Texas and sent back to their family. So it's an amazing collection full of lots of good details and information for genealogical research. Fisher-Miller transfers. So this is again part of the German collection in the GLO. And it gives you details such as what ships they came on, where they landed, the date they came to Texas, and maybe if they were married or single. It could have other witnesses listed on that document as well.
2 minutes.
We have Republican donation vouchers, and those were records given out during the 18s for surviving veterans of the Texas Revolution. And again, we have our Confederate script vouchers, which for those soldiers that came to Texas and or fought for the Confederacy. We have our map collection. We keep these housed in the state-of-the-art vault. They are a vital resource for surveyors, genealogists, historians. We have scanned a vast amount of our collection, over 3 million documents. This is part of our Save Texas History program. We have county maps that shows the layout of each survey in each county. These maps were redone or redrawn over the years. We have Republic, county maps, state maps, Republic of Texas maps, pre-Republic maps, and also historical world maps. We also have bird's eye view maps. This is of Galveston. So these can be very ornate and detailed. And if you have any questions, again, I've breezed through this pretty quickly, but if you have any questions, please contact me and I'll be glad to help out with any questions you have regarding an original land grant.